Hey guys, it's Chris at Highland Guitars and you're watching another one of my YouTube guitar building videos. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope that you'll enjoy this video, find it useful, and at the end you might consider subscribing. Or at the very least, you'll consider giving the video a thumbs up. A while back, I did a series of videos where I built a bass guitar based on the Fender Precision bass design. And it was an interesting build. And once it was complete, I was pretty happy with the results. I turned it over to the new owner, and that was that. Well, a short time later, the owner came back to me and he said, this guitar has some buzzing, string buzzing issues. And I thought, how can that be? I know that I completely leveled the frets, and it didn't seem to have an issue when I had completed the guitar as I was doing the setup. So I couldn't quite figure out what was going on. So he brought the bass back to me and I started playing it, and sure enough, there was some issue with string buzz. I checked the frets to make sure they were level. Everything was fine. So I was really curious as to what was going on. And the new owner told me that string buzz can be an issue with Fender Precision basses. So I thought, I need to do some research because I haven't built that many precision style basses in the past. So I wasn't really familiar with what he was talking about. So I looked into it, and what I found was, yes, there is an issue sometimes with the Fender Precision bass that can cause string buzz. And it has to do with the string tension on the tuner side of the nut. You have to get that tension just right. Otherwise, you'll get string buzz. And sure enough, with this bass, if I just lightly touched the strings past the nut before they came to the tuners, that string buzz disappeared immediately. So really solving the problem was a simple issue of winding the strings around the tuning pegs in a certain way so that the string is lower on the peg, closer to the headstock, and that increased the string tension and reduced and eliminated that string buzz. But what this does is it highlights an issue with guitar building that I have long known to be one of the curses of building guitars, and that is there are so many little minute details that you rarely see talked about in any books or on any internet forums or social media platforms. And it can be really difficult to figure out how to solve some of these issues. And a lot of them can be related specifically to the design of the guitar that you're building. And it may have to do with scale length, neck angle, headstock angle, bridge choice, bridge placement. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. When I first started building guitars 20 years ago, I didn't have a lot of resources at my disposal. The one resource that I was using that I found was very, very useful and effective was the book Building Electric Guitars by Martin Koch. And that book really helped me to get started. And I wore that book out building the first couple of guitars that I made. But even so, there were still a lot of details that I ran into that weren't covered in the book. I like to think of them as the things that Mama never told you about guitar building. And in order for me to address those issues, took some trial and error. And in some cases, the error was so significant, the only way I could solve it was to start over and build a new guitar and incorporate these new ideas. So I got to thinking, this might be an interesting video where you, the viewer, can chime in down in the comments section below and list out some of the issues that you've encountered while building guitars that were completely unexpected and that you may have had a difficult time trying to figure out how to solve because no one talks about them. Guitars, being stringed instruments, are a very complex and sophisticated instrument or tool. And getting them to work exactly right can be really challenging. And a lot of times we run into these issues and we don't know where to turn. So I was thinking that, once enough of you have chimed in and talked about the experiences that you've had, I could then put together another video in the future where I can address some of these issues so that folks who are just getting started in building, or people who have been building for a while and run into a problem, will have a resource they can turn to maybe figure out where to go in order to deal with the issue that they're struggling with. Now, if I wanted to avoid the headache of dealing with these issues every time I build a guitar, I would just simply build the same guitar design over and over and over. But that's just not how I do things. As a creative craftsman, I like to make every guitar unique and different than the last one. And as a result, even the slightest change to a design that I've made before can result in encountering problems that I wasn't expecting before. And I'll tell you, when I first started building guitars, I was using what I like to call power-assisted hand building. And that's where you're using a router, a bandsaw, planer, joiner, drill press, those type of tools in order to create the shape of the body, the neck, and the fretboard. Then I moved on to CNC. Well, by the time I started with CNC, I had mastered the ability to make a guitar using the router, the bandsaw, the drill press, the planers, and the joiners. Once I started with CNC, it was like I was starting all over from scratch without really knowing anything. And it took a while for me to get confident and comfortable using the equipment. But once I did that, I knew that that was definitely the way to go. However, even to this day, because every guitar I make is different than the one I made previously, there is still what I like to call the pucker factor. Every time I hit that carve button, I hold my breath to and wait to make sure that everything is going to work the way I was hoping it would work when I set up the files to carve those parts. You just never know. I mean, there's no guarantee that it's going to work out right. And a lot of times I'm looking for ways to increase efficiency, reduce the amount of time it takes to make the parts. And when you do that, there's always the risk that you've pushed it just a little too far. At any rate, I hope that you found this video useful, and I'm hoping that a lot of you will chime in and will share with the rest of the community some of the issues that you encountered that were real head scratchers, ones that you had a tough time trying to find a solution for. And then maybe others can chime in with a solution, or perhaps down the road I can post a new video where I can sort of list out some of these issues that people run into and ways that you can solve them. And then that will become a resource for future viewers who can hopefully learn some tips and tricks before they actually start to build the guitar that they want to make. So until the next episode, as always, hit that thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel, again, welcome, and I hope you'll consider subscribing, because this is, I hope, a great resource for building guitars. I'm hoping that over time I can continue to add videos with information that is going to help you to succeed when you build your guitars. Information that may not be available anywhere else. So until the next episode, as always, take care, stay safe, and I hope you'll be back for the next episode.